Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Food and Beverage Services. Module 2 Welcome Guests and Take Food and Beverage Orders. Learning Outcome Number 1 Welcome and Greet Guests. Lesson 2 Welcoming and Greeting Guests Procedure. This section starts to explore the activities that take place when the customer arrives at the food and beverage establishment. While the steps undertaken may differ depending on the nature of the venue, there are still some common acceptable practices. Have you ever experienced dining in a restaurant? What have you observed when you entered a restaurant? The arrival of the guest into the dining room or restaurant is equally important as the meal itself. Therefore, it is very important that you properly welcome and greet guests accordingly as they affect their dining experiences. The guest might not dine at the restaurant again if you do not treat them properly. The person who welcomes or greets guests in the restaurant is called a receptionist. They are also known as a host or hostess. A receptionist should be well groomed and be present at the entrance of the dining room or restaurant. He or she must greet the guests with enthusiasm and be respectful at all times because he or she is the first contact to the guests. Whatever impression he or she gives will definitely set the mood for the dining experience. A sincere greeting will put the customers at ease and start the service on a positive attitude. Welcoming or greeting guests can also be done by a head waiter. When customers arrive, it is the responsibility of the service staff to promptly meet them with a smile and appropriate greeting at the door. Remember that customers like to feel important and they should always be treated accordingly. Besides, first impressions count, as they say, you only get one chance to make a first impression. When guests arrive in your dining area, the first two steps you should be 1. To greet or welcome them. 2. To inquire whether or not they have a reservation or booking. When guests say that they have a reservation, you should confirm this in your reservations book to identify the table they had been allocated on the table floor plan. Check with them the number of guests expected. Often there can be an extra one, and sometimes there are 1 or 2 will be cancellations. Where there are cancellations, the chair and cover should be removed from the table so that the table is not embarrassed by empty places. Where an extra person has presented with a booking, staff should immediately set another place and add a chair where possible, or another table should be quickly identified for the party. The key is to ensure that guests do not feel in either case that they have done the wrong thing or inconvenience staff. When confirming the reservation, also confirms any details that may be written against the booking. And you're off to the cinema, so you'd like to be away at the 30, is that right? And you requested a high chair, I believe? Where there is a note that a birthday cake or similar has been arranged, this should also be discreetly checked with the host either at the table or elsewhere. A visit to the table informing the host that there is a phone call at reservation for them can aid in getting them away from the table. If the guest has no reservation, check the floor plan to see if they can be accommodated. Be alert to the opportunity to maximize sales. For instance, by asking someone who comes in at 6:30 p.m. without a booking, whether they could be finished at 7:45 p.m. so that you can strip their table and reset for the 8 p.m. booking. Using a table for 2 sittings per session. A 50-seat restaurant can quite easily serve 70 to 80 covers per session. There are some people who will breeze into a restaurant claiming they have booked when in fact they never made one. If you have made a vacancy, then this really isn't a problem. But where there's no vacancy exists, the potential of trouble exists. All you can do is to apologize profusely and offer another session. Your house policy may dictate some other form of additional gratuity, a discount voucher, voucher for a free item, or a free drink. But many establishments adopt the instance that says if we can find your booking, you didn't make one. If the situation looks like getting out of hand, call your supervisor or the duty manager. The greeting on arrival. What you say by the way of welcome to your guest may be determined by house policy with certain required statements and facts to be covered. Or you may simply be expected to use your common sense and good judgment on a person-by-person or party-by-party basis as indicated by the weather. A genuine statement, "Isn't it cold today?" can be a great icebreaker and help strike up a conversation. Sporting event. Did you watch the game today? Special events. Happy Festival Day. The season. Isn't it getting dark early these days? A special in-house event. Welcome to our grand winery tour dinner. It will be a night to remember. In some establishments, guests may be able to leave their overcoats, umbrellas, and other items at the reception area. Is the case, ask the guest if they would like to take their coat or assist with other items. Special needs customers. Some guests may have special needs and simple observation will identify many of these. Don't wait to be asked if there is a special need. Get proactive and offer. Number 1. Alternative easy access to the table because of the disability. A high chair of infants. Warming of a bottle for babies. Appropriate food for those with special dietary needs as indicated in the reservations book. Privacy for romantic couples and business people to the best extent possible given other bookings. Room on a table to spread out where business looks as if it is going to be conducted. A table near the door for someone with a walking stick. Sometimes special offers had been made or vouchers will be used by guests to pay for their meal. It is a usual condition that guests notify you at this on arrival so that you know what billing process to use and what other services or products they are entitled to. This could include a free glass of champagne, the set menu only, a choice of entry, and main and sweets, and so on. Welcoming the guests. Acknowledge the presence. Greet guests with pleasant smile using appropriate greetings like "Good morning, sir," or "Good morning, madam." If possible, greet them by name using prefix Mr. or Miss. If the customer is a repeat guest, say, "We're glad to see you again." Escorting the guest. Usually, the guest informs the receptionist, waiter, attendant when they have reservations. The waiter, attendant leads the way, guiding the guest to the prepared tables, saying, "This way, please." The waiter, attendant must have the initiatives to exercise control in placing the guest, so that the distribution of guests is equal to the waiters as related to the areas of assignment. During peak period, the captain waiters and other food servers may help the waiter. Seating the guest. Where to seat the guest. Utilize table according to guest disbursement and number of party. Well-dressed guests should be seated at the center of the restaurant, controlling the number of seating the guests. Presenting the menu. Present the menu when the guests are already seated comfortably and properly. The menu should be presented right side up. Hand the menu to the guest with politeness and a smile. Ladies are presented with the menu first. The menu is only presented from the left side of the seating arrangement does not permit. No dirty, smeared, torn menus should be given to the guest. Corrections of items in the menu should be in very neat manner. Menu must open on the appetizer page. Menu content. The food of the menu are grouped into categories. Taking the order. Mechanics of taking the order. Always have a pen and order slips ready. Approach the customer after giving them time to look at the menu. Sometimes guests signal readiness to order. As much as possible, identify the host or hostess because he or she may wish to order for higher guests. Usually for large groups, the guest would speak up if the bill should be processed on several checks. If no information received about this and to look for more professionals, inquire from the guest and his party if the order is to be processed on the several checks. It will be saved a lot of time and confusion later. Stand erect to the left side of the guest with the order pad supporter in the palm of the hand and the pen ready. Bend slightly toward in an attitude of listening and close attention. Use suggestive selling techniques throughout the order taking process. Record food dishes in proper sequence of servings order starting with appetizer, soup, and dessert. Be certain to write orders in a legible manner to save difficulties to self, cashier, and the kitchen staff who are to prepare it. Placing order to the kitchen. It is of vital importance that there is perfect understanding. Serving the food. Serving means deliver the order food to the guest table and attend to their needs throughout the meal. Loading the tray, carrying the tray. Things to remember in several or serving the meal. Serve and pour all beverages from the right in glass 2/3 full on the table. When filling the glass, never lift the glass from the table and pour. Never reach across the guest. If absolutely necessary, an apology should be made. Coffee cup should be generally not placed on the table. Use a coffee cup saucer. Waiters must serve the ladies first. Soiled dishes should be removed promptly, even if it is not the area of assignment. Replaced dropped articles utensils with clean ones. Never pick up dropped items and place it back on the table. Replaced ashtrays when filled with maximum of 2 cigarette butts. Make sure to cover them before removing. Be alert on the mess of the guests. Presenting the guest's bill. A guest check must not be presented to the guest unless it has been totaled with a percentage of SC and CAP applicable tax. Be sure that the amount is correct and items ordered to avoid misunderstanding. Receiving and accepting tips. Tips are financial reward for purchase and efficient service. Guests are not obliged to leave any money other than the payment of what they have ordered. Bidding goodbye. When the guests are ready to leave, the waiter must pull out the chair of at least the oldest or most important looking lady in the party. Help gather the guest belongings such as umbrella, bags, or packages that may other else forget. Escort the guest to the exit area. Extra effort must be made with guests who are using vouchers or participating in deals. Many expect to be treated as second class and get quiet snaky when this happens. So treat them even with extra care, respect, and highly quality service. And finally, when greeting guests, it is likely that you will know their name. They will either tell you or you can get it from the room or number key or the reservation book. It is quite simply music to their ears to hear the sound of their name, and it shows civility, manners, and an individual orientation to them as honored guests.